have a lot of graphics to show. I apologize. A lot of this material is copyrighted by the federal and state government, so one graphic I do have is the one I'm most proud of. That's my little boy in the chair. His name is Frankie. Maybe some of you know him. Frankie Bonilla-Ware. He earned his angel wings about 3.5 years ago. Frankie was on SSI, though, for a little bit of time, and I know there's a lot of questions with regards to SSI. SSI, as you know, it's a state-supported program. We live in Illinois, and it varies from state to state. Right now, in the state of Illinois, SSI pays $735 per month for those who qualify. The most important thing to know about SSI is it's means tested, meaning that it's based on your family income. And that's very important to remember. But there's a thing called a deeming chart that we use to determine who does qualify for SSI. Don't be discouraged by that. The important thing is to always check it out and make sure that that your child and your family, they can probably use the extra income. So it's going to be important to check out that avenue and see if you guys do qualify for SSI. Very, very important. The procedures. Before I get started, is there anybody here who's on SSI right now in the state in which they live? I got 1, 2, okay, 3, okay. All right. It may not seem like a lot, but it does help. SSI sort of coincides with Medicaid. Medicaid is a state-funded medical program, and a lot of people, they think there are some drawbacks with Medicaid, but in the state of Illinois, the All Kids program we have is very, very beneficial. Maybe a little bit underfunded. You just have to find the right doctors that are in the network. Don't be discouraged, though. That's the most important thing, because these kids with MPS deserve the best that we can possibly give them. I want to talk a little bit about compassionate allowances. Compassionate allowances are things that are fast-tracked by the Social Security Administration. Compassionate allowances, MPS is one of them. MPS falls under that category. MPS 1, 2, and 3 fall under the compassionate allowance category. With that, a child who applies for SSI is usually what we call fast-tracked into receiving the benefit. Now, MPS, don't be discouraged because all the rest of the MPS, if you file for SSI, you will get it. It's just that MPS 1, 2, and 3, because of the nature of those diseases, they are fast-tracked into the system. It could probably, more than likely take, in Illinois, we have a pretty big backlog when it comes to SSI and Medicaid. It's about a 6-month process to get approved, okay? With MPS, there should be no denials. It should go through right away. That's the most important thing you're going to have to know. Don't worry about, you've heard about other people applying for SSI and it didn't go through, or they applied for regular disability. They were denied and they had to do an appeal. There's an appeal process, and it takes it could take up to 2.5 years if you go through the normal process. With MPS, though, there shouldn't be any issues. Let me go through the appeal process, because there may be somebody here real quickly that may be interested in what we call SSDI. Don't get them confused. SSI is what we consider supplemental security income. Okay, it's state funded. SSDI is the regular Social Security benefit that you've paid for through your FICA taxes and work. There is an appeal process, and I'm going to bring it up just in case. That appeal process is your initial filing. You go through, you do the filing with the Social Security Administration, or you could do it online. That could take up to 6 months. You may get a letter in the mail saying you've been denied, whether it was medical or technical. There are 2 different types of denials. Most of the technical denials are based on work. If you work and you earn over a certain amount of money, you're going to be denied those benefits. It's what we call SGA, or substantial gainful activity. You want to make sure that if you're going to apply for Social Security, SSDI, I apologize, regular disability, this is important because I'm going to get into, it's going to dovetail into something more important for your MPS child a little bit later. Because SSDI can be of any age, as long as you've got, and you paid FICA taxes, this will be a benefit to your child later on. There's the first appeal process. I'm going to go with what I'm familiar with in the state of Illinois, 6 months. I get a denial. I go ahead and I file what we call a reconsideration. That's your first appeal. It could still take another 6 months, and then you get denied again. After that, you apply for your third appeal, your second appeal. That's a hearing before an ALJ or an administrative law judge. In the state of Illinois, again, some of you come from smaller states, the appeal process to see the ALJ may not take that long. Right now, we're running about 14 months in the state of Illinois on the appeal process to see the administrative law judge. If you get denied by the administrative law judge, you still have a fourth chance. The fourth chance consists of appealing to what we call the Appeals Council. For the state of Illinois, the Appeals Council is out of Falls Church, Virginia. They do most of them in the United States, but they do get divvied up between some of the appeals councils. Getting back to compassionate allowances, remember MPS 1, 2, and 3, fast track. Once the adjudicator down at your local state office finds out what your child has, they could get approved much quicker for their SSI benefits. I should talk about trust. A lot of children, usually grandparents, will start a trust for their grandchildren or things like that. Very important. If you have a trust for your child, it's important that if you're going to apply for Social Security, or rather SSI, Supplemental Security Income for your child, it's important that you have verbiage in there that you cannot have access to those funds prior to the age of 18. If you have access to that, those are what we consider resources. And a lot of trust funds could be, no matter what, they could be a lot of money. It's money put aside for your child, obviously, at a later age. If you have immediate access, or if the family or the child has immediate access to those funds prior to the age of 18, those benefits will be denied based on what we call resources. State of Illinois, what we consider resources are $2,000 in a bank account for the child, $3,000 for the household. So it's not a lot. It's not a lot, and a lot of people have complaints about SSI and the very stringent rules. Keep in mind, Social Security, we administer the program. It's not a Social Security program per se. We administer the program for the states, for the individual states. And if you have a problem with a Social Security representative, always remember, because sometimes I'll take calls from someone who has a problem with SSI and they'll complain about the claims rep that they have. Ask to speak to the supervisor for that field office that you're calling. You don't have to be treated disrespectfully if you're going to be calling. Your child has needs. Your child has needs, and you're the caretaker. Be the advocate for your child, and it's very important. Not that you're going to run into that, but if you do, very important. That's what our operations supervisors at the individual offices are there for. When you begin the process, don't worry about getting paperwork together, or a lot of people ask, well, I got to go out and I have to collect all the paperwork. I got to go talk to all the doctors and clinicians who are involved in the diagnosis process. Not necessary, because when you do the initial filing for SSI, what's going to happen is you're going to be signing a medical release, which allows the person that's going to be investigating that claim, and I'll get to that individual in just one second, the person that's investigating that claim you're giving them sort of carte blanche to go and speak to all those clinicians and doctors. The important thing is when you fill out that form, that SSA 3368 for your child, that's the actual application form. Just be very thorough. Very thorough with doctors, names, hospitals, clinicians. Dates are very important. Medications are very important too. So just it can be just as specific as you can. You'll avoid yourself a lot of heartache. A lot of times what happens is it could be something very simple, even probably with MPS, if you fill out something wrong and that you could get a technical denial, and then all of a sudden now you're starting all over again. So the appeals process is important. But again, make sure that the 3368 or the application for those SSI benefits are filled out in total to the best of your recollection and capability. And I mentioned the medical release. Again, no need to get all those things that you need from your doctor. Medicaid, like I said before, there are problems. I get a lot of calls into the Woodstock office where I work at. I work at the Woodstock field office. It's about 60 miles northwest of Chicago. And I get a lot of problems that are Medicaid related. Keep in mind, Medicaid it's not a Social Security issue. It is a state issue, and you have to go through your Department of Human Services and at the state in which you live. If you call Social Security, I want to save you some time. If you call Social Security and it's a Medicaid, not Medicare, if it's a Medicaid issue, you're just pursuing the wrong avenue of approach there. You need to talk to your state the people at the Department of Human Services in the state in which you reside. Very important to remember. There are some Medicaid things we may be able to help you out with that are SSI related, but keep in mind, if it's strictly about your child's medical coverage, address it to your Department of Human Services in the state in which you live. Most counties have a Department of Human Services, and for those 3 or 4 individuals that are on SSI, you've probably been in contact with them. Sometimes they're not the easiest people in the world to deal with. I know I have problems dealing with the one in our county, and I live in a very nice county, and we're far from the sea and everything, and we live out in the farm area, but for some reason those people are a little bit jaded at times, and I think it just has to do with years of service and dealing with individuals that try to do wrong with the system, so to speak. So if you have those issues, always ask to speak to a supervisor, because I've always had people come to me, why are people at the Department of Human Services, or why are people at Social Security so upset or something, or why can't I get a call through, why don't they return my calls? One thing I want to let you know today before you leave, if anyone, I'll be here till Sunday. If anyone needs anything, if you're having problems with your local Social Security, I'd be happy to get you maybe another point of contact at your local office. You can call me at my office, and I'd be glad to get you the information you need to get the right answer. Or if I can help you there, again, with SSI, it's state specific. So what happens in Illinois may not necessarily carry over to California or New Hampshire, whatever state you may live in. What I want to talk about, and we're going to open this up for questions in a little bit, I don't have a lot of time. I want to talk about a Title II benefit. What Title II benefits are is those are retirement benefits and or SSDI benefits, which I hearkened to back before, which are the Social Security Disability Insurance benefits. You may be 40 years old and you may be on disability. If you have a child with Hunter syndrome, instead of being on SSI, they may be eligible for what we call a Title II benefit. If you have significant work, you've paid FICA taxes, they don't hand these. Social Security used to send out those yearly things telling you what you've paid in and how much you're going to get. They've stopped doing that. They're only passing those out now to people past the age of 60. But with that said, you know what there's a PIA or a primary insurance amount that tells you how much you're going to get at the age of 62 or full retirement age, which is based on your year of birth. For me, born in 1961, my full retirement age is 67. People born 1953 and after are 1943 and after, are it's age 66. What you want to do is, if you're on one of those benefits, if you're on SSDI, there may be a larger benefit available to you, to your family, to your child with MPS. There may be a larger benefit available to you. So that's important to remember. Now, you're transitioning from what we call a Title 16 benefit, which is SSI. You're moving over to a Title II benefit. The good thing about that is those restrictions go away, meaning that the resource limits, the $2,000 in the bank account, the trust funds, things like that, those all disappear if you're able to move your child over to that. And I say that because a lot of good things are happening with MPS. Our children are living a lot longer, and we're going to see progression with this as the years go on. And this may become something you may want to consider. And there may be even some grandparents out there who are raising their grandchildren with MPS. Something you want to take a look at, get your child those benefits that they deserve, because it may be larger than that $735 monthly payment that you get from the state for SSI. I should mention that we don't have it in the state of Illinois, but there are some states in the United States that offer a stipend, or in addition to, if you qualify for SSI, there is an additional amount that your state may provide for you. Now, I know California is one of them, and Wisconsin's one. I'm not sure about the other ones. So that is, it does vary from state to state. Getting back to the Title II benefits, I had mentioned that you transition over from that Title 16 to Title II benefits, and I'm throwing a lot of terminology around here, and I apologize because it's a little bit hard to decipher. That's why, if you have any questions, please ask, and I'm always available after the conference also. But with that said, your child can get off, if they can transition to those Title II benefits, they can also get on Medicare. As you know, Medicare is federally funded, and in the state of Illinois, more doctors are in the Medicare network than are in the Medicaid network. It gives your child, and it gives you a little bit more peace of mind, knowing that in your later years, there's going to be something there for your child, a little bit more than what the state has to provide. It's something that you actually provided as a worker or as a retiree in the form of FICA taxes, and it's going to benefit your child. So very important. The important thing to remember, though, is if you haven't done that, if your child's not on SSI, if you've never been to Social Security, don't wait. If you're making too much money, if the deeming chart, if your Social Security field office tells you that you're too high on the deeming chart, you're making too much as a family, that's okay. You'll get a technical denial. You still have to get your child medically qualified for Social Security, because the longer you wait, doctors move, they retire, hospitals, how long do they keep? Hopefully they'll keep records a long time, but you never know. It's important that your child get diagnosed with their Hunter syndrome if they're going to collect what I mentioned as that Title II benefit, the childhood benefit. It's important that they get diagnosed prior to the age of 22. That's very important, okay? It's what you're going to do at the age of 18. As soon as your child gets 18, you'll take them in for what we call a DAC interview, DAC, D-A-C, which is Disabled Adult Child Benefits, okay? Go in for the interview, get it done. That'll make the transition easier for all the family members if someone was to go on disability or if someone was to retire, whether you're a parent or a grandparent with MPS. It'll make that, like I said, it'll make that transition easier. We'll already have that established. Because if you tried to establish that after the age of 22, I'm not saying you're going to run into roadblocks, especially with MPS, but it'll just make things a lot easier for everybody. Documentation, like I mentioned before, with MPS, we have everything we need here from their initial consultation. But some of that documentation, they got diagnosed. My son Frankie got diagnosed before he was 3. So it's important that you just go in. If you get a denial, that's okay. You just want to get your child on record with the Social Security Administration with their illness, with their disease. You just want to have that recorded in the Social Security system. In the state of Illinois, I want to talk about one thing, and there may be other states that have this. There is a program called DOORS. It's the Division of Rehabilitative Services. What the state of Illinois does is, we had it for our son for quite a while. It pays a family member to take care of the child. In this case, the child with MPS. We had our sons as the employer. As the employee. I'm sorry. The state hires a family member to help in taking care of the child, and what you do is you bill your services to the state. Now, I'm sure other states have this. If Illinois got it, other states have to have it. So that's something you really want to look into. It's a very good program to get involved with. And I'm trying to think, there's so much I can try and condense into this speech, but I'm not sure how much time we have. There's someone with their hand up, so what I'll do is I'll open it up now for questions. If anyone has any questions, please feel free. Yes, ma'am.
I want to ask about the compassionate allowances. So if MPS 1 has been already identified under this heading, and a child or an adult with MPS 1 has been denied because they don't fit criteria, what criteria would put them in that position that they've been denied?
When was the child diagnosed, ma'am?
20 years ago.
If sometimes, and I hate to say this, it may require getting legal help, because you may get some feedback, and I'm here to advocate for MPS. I'm not here to advocate for Social Security, I'll tell you that right now. If you have to get a lawyer, then do it, because you may get a little bit of, pullback from the Social Security Administration trying to go back 20 years and establish that, okay? But MPS 1 is on the compassionate allowance. If it was something you never established with Social Security, then by all means, just start the process.
My only thought would be that this person's IQ is normal, and so would they think that, well, this child, even though they have MPS, is not handicapped?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's still on the compassionate allowance list, and it's on that fast track list. Can I ask where you live, ma'am?
I'm speaking for another family that's here at the conference that is running one of the other sessions, and they live here in Minnesota.
Okay. I mean, if you want to have them or if they want to contact me, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm in room 1112. I'm here for a reason. I'm here to help you out. I'm sort of breaking ground here. We've never had a Social Security person here, I was told, speak to the crowd. So this is groundbreaking. So I'm running through this, and I'm trying to get this in a timely fashion. So I'm trying to accommodate everything. That's why I want to open it up myself, my services, even after this lecture, this speech today. Catch me if you see me in the hallways, or if you have to reach me up at my room 1112. My name is Tom. Feel free to ask me any questions. That's what I'm here for, okay? But getting back to you, ma'am, I apologize. If they have any questions, have them call me. But they need to begin the process. And the longer they wait, you know, and that's why I mentioned, in this case, I would really see in the state of Illinois, we actually have a legal service that sort of works hand in hand with Social Security. It's called Prairie State Legal Services. You probably have the equivalent of that here in Minnesota. I would have them get in touch with a Social Security advocate because, as you can see, that is the compassionate allowance, why that young man or girl is not on or why they're getting some pullback. That doesn't make any sense. That's why I'm saying if you have to go the legal route, it's worth that couple's time to do so.
Hi.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure whether Illinois has anything that's similar. I live in Washington, D.C., whether or not it's considered technically not a state.
Right.
But under Medicaid, they have something called an EPD waiver, which is something like elderly, disabled people, so to speak. I think that's what it stands for.
Okay.
But anyway, and the way it's sort of for us, it makes certain things, it's like caregiver situations, you're talking about caregiver, because we have something similar in DC, it's called Medicaid My Way, and you can hire a caregiver
Right.
through the state. But this waiver only allows certain entities. It's sort of like it's not full-fledged Medicaid. But, I mean, it serves all the same purposes, but in my case for Andre, it has been difficult to get the same caregivers I had before because they did something with the Medicaid, so now he could only get certain people under the waiver, they call it. This is a waiver program, so this waiver will only allow, it's like it'll only allow me to apply at certain places, so to speak, for his services. And it took like almost 14, 15 caregiver agencies just to get a caregiver. And we're still going through caregivers left and right.
Okay.
But I don't know whether that's something, because they said under SSI, generally if you become eligible for SSI, usually Medicaid is an easier process.
In some cases, yes.
Because, you know, and with Andre, it was an income discrepancy. I mean, they told him he was medically eligible, but because of child support, he was not financially eligible.
Okay. Yeah. And there are things, again, everything, and I'm glad you brought that up, and I'll be talking with you right after, we'll get together right after the meeting, and we'll go into a little bit more detail. You brought up something good, though, about everything with SSI. Any income that comes into the household is taken into account. Child support. Do you have a child, maybe an adult child or even a teen child that's in the house that's working? Everything that comes into the household is taken into account when you talk about SSI. But again, please do not let that be a discouragement, because SSI is a segue into that other benefit we were talking about with regards to the Title II benefit or the SSDI or retirement benefits, what we call a C1 benefit. When you become a retiree or if you get SSDI, you're either an A or a B or a child on the record. In this case, the child, if approved, would become like a C beneficiary identification on your record. And again, we're moving over from Title 16 to Title II. The benefit is a lot better. Again, you're not hamstrung by all these rules and regulations that the states put down with SSI. And I'm sort of catching myself here. I'm sort of saying, well, SSI and all these rules and regulations. Again, the groundwork is to begin with SSI, go through that process. When your child, if they're not 18, if they're young, you're going to go through the process when they turn 18. You'll go through the DAC process, the Disabled Adult Child process. Very important too. When your child turns 18, if they're on SSI and they're not collecting, because mom and dad are bringing too much money in. At the age of 18, those earnings restrictions go away. At the age of 18, your child will be able to collect that $735 per month. Okay? Now, will it be $735? It may not. They have a thing called ISM, which is called in-kind support and maintenance, which takes away 1/3 of that income if the child's living at home. In this case with MPS, chances are the child's going to be living with mom and dad. Okay? So instead of $735, I believe it was right around $490, $480. You may get that every month. But again, we're beginning that transition to another type of benefit later on, whether if, God forbid, mom or dad became disabled and had to go on disability benefits, or later on, if one of them's old enough to retire, we're going to move that child over to the Title II benefit, that childhood benefit that I was talking about, which could pay a lot more money than the $735, and again, without all the bells and whistles or the rules and restrictions that apply with SSI. I'm cramming a lot of information in here. Again, see me if you need anything. Is there anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I have 2 quick questions. The CAL allowances, is that national or state?
That's national. That's a federal. That's from Social Security. That is federal.
So the states have to accept that?
Yes, ma'am.
And again, feeding on to the question before, the diagnosis is what determines the eligibility, not the sort of medical and cognitive state of the patient.
Because it's listed on the compassionate allowance list, it will get approved.
All right, and then my last question is, for a grandparent who is taking care of an MPS 2 child, do they have to have custody
I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you.
To, so I have a grandmother who wants to retire because she needs to take care of this child. What are her options?
Okay, are the parents living?
The dad is not, and the mom is, and this is a problem because this patient inherited some money, so he lost his Medicaid.
Okay.
It's a very complicated case.
In most cases, the grandparent has to adopt the child in order to receive that benefit, unless, in this case, there's one parent has passed away. Would the other parent be willing to sign off parental rights to that child? That's what needs to happen. If that happens, then yes, by all means, that grandmother that's collecting Social Security, whether it's her own benefit, a widow's benefit, or whatever, definitely she needs to check into getting the child on that Title II benefit, which again entitles that child to Medicare, not Medicaid. A lot more options with Medicare as opposed to Medicaid. Okay? Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Yes. So I recently this summer went, and my daughter is 19, and we went to the Social Security office to begin this process. So I did learn about, I'm from the state of Kentucky, and I did learn about the max benefit for a wholly dependent disabled adult in Kentucky is $735. I kind of thought that was across the nation, but you said it's a state-funded.
Because there's stipends in several states.
Sure, sure. So then I did learn that since she lives with me, there's the ISM, and so the max benefit for her is $490 because she lives with me. Okay. I do know another parent, though, that lives in our town that her daughter's in her 20s. Anyways, she used some kind of language, and she doesn't recall what it was, but she had help from some people who were in the know of a certain type of language when they went to apply for the SSI, that she was able to receive the full benefit. I didn't know if you knew that language, that now I can go back again and use that language.
I'll tell you.
Instead of getting the reduction, the ISM, the $490, what language can I use that she gets full benefit even though she lives with me? And another second part of my question is, if she receives, I know you haven't touched on it, but I know there's a reduction if my daughter tries to get a job. Then, after the first $64 that she earns in a month, every $2 that she earns, she has to report $1, and then that's reduced. And/or if she gets unearned income over $20, she has to report dollar for dollar, and then that's taken off.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to know if you would speak about avenues, which I have learned are, 1, a trust, 2, second, I've heard about the ABLE accounts, and some states are adopting the ABLE account to protect unearned income that the individual can have without a reduction from the SSI benefit.
I'm not familiar. There may be different terminology in the state of Illinois. You mentioned the ABLE account, but I can find out. I actually have a cohort who works in the Pikeville, Kentucky office. So I can give him a call. I can get back to you if you want. I can provide you my information, and I'd be glad to find out about that. But there are certain avenues for children that are working. There's something called, in the state of Illinois, PASS. It's Plan to Achieve Self-Support. There's a PASS coordinator for all the regions for Social Security. And what they do is there's a form you fill out, and it's a plan to achieve independence for the individual. That's one of the ways to avoid the ism. Another way is there's fair share. Fair share if your child is helping with the household expenses. That's something you may want to take a look at.
There is tomorrow a session, 2:15, managing your estate distributions, or also the charitable giving strategies. But I know, because my husband, Jerry Todd, is doing that, he can talk to you a little bit about ABLE accounts, or you can just talk to him directly. So I know we have a lot of questions, and so we're going to wrap this session. Thank you so very much. And
I'm getting the hook.